So when it comes to Trump, do you dislike his policies or him as a person or both?
I don't dislike Trump as a person in the sense that I've never met the guy. So I think he has a lot of personality traits that make him completely unsuited to being president. And also, I think his policy prescriptions, to the extent that they exist and he understands them, which is a different part of it. A lot of the stuff Trump talks about, he still doesn't know how tariffs work. We're 8 years into this thing, 9 years in. He still thinks China pays the tariffs when they're paid by American
Yeah, I've seen him
companies.
talk about tariffs.
Very confused guy.
Wait, so China's not paying tariffs right now?
The tariffs are paid by the American companies that import the Chinese goods. That's the way it's such a fundamental, and I see you looking a little confused on this
I'm confused.
In this video, David Pakman educates a brainwashed host about Trump's lies. Sean Kelly comes in completely convinced that Trump's tariffs are punishing China, only to get hit with a reality check. David Pakman just breaks it down step by step, showing how American businesses and consumers are the ones actually paying the price. And Sean just seems genuinely confused on a lot of topics here. And it doesn't stop there. They dive into Trump's failed healthcare promises, tax policies, and border plan, exposing how Trump contradicts himself and runs against his own record. David Pakman just lays it all out, making it impossible to ignore how much of Trump's agenda is built on just deception. So make sure to watch till the end to see how David Pakman educates a brainwashed host about Trump's lies.
This is the way tariffs work. What Trump did is place tariffs on Chinese imports. By the time the imports get here, China's been paid for this stuff. Maybe they get net 120 terms, right? But in a sense, China has already transacted. The American company who brings the goods in pays the tariffs.
Really?
You're kidding right now.
No, I thought he said he was raising the tariffs by 50 to 100% for Chinese imports.
You got to clip this. I'm begging you. You got to clip this and send it to me.
No, I'm genuinely
None of this
confused.
stuff is getting cut out, right?
No.
Oh, my God.
We post everything.
Please. The tariffs are paid by the company that does the importing. So if you want to build a building in the U.S. and you import Chinese steel, you pay China for the steel, you pay the U.S. government the tariff. This is why it's inflationary. Economists have looked at Trump's tariff proposal and said it would make stuff more expensive for Americans by adding the cost of the tariffs to the total cost of production. So that's the way tariffs work. A lot of people don't seem to know how tariffs work, which is sad because this is how people end up getting sucked into Trump's vortex. He says something that sounds good. I'm going to punish China with tariffs.
Yeah.
In this case, that sounds good. Chinese tariffs. They're paid by the American companies.
Wow.
That's why it's so damaging.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send me this part of the
No, I
conversation.
will. I genuinely had no idea. I thought China was paying those.
Yep. No, China's not paying them.
Yeah. I thought they were, though.
They weren't. They're not. Yeah.
So why would he do that? I'm confused.
You'd have to ask him.
All right. So that's one policy you don't agree with. What else?
Trump's policy on taxation. I didn't agree with putting a cap on salt, state and local taxes, for example. I think it's a way to deliberately target blue states, which tend to have better infrastructure and slightly higher taxes. I didn't agree with that. I didn't see any reason to do that. What's funny is Trump is now saying we're going to fix salt. It's like, dude, you broke it. You're now running against your own tax plan. But then when J.D. Vance was asked about it, he said, well, I don't actually know that we're going to do that. So I disagree with the incompetence surrounding it. I disagree with his instinct to just cut taxes for the very rich and corporations. And also, I think he doesn't even know what he's doing. I don't even think he understands his own plan.
This moment is completely priceless. Sean was fully convinced that Trump's tariffs were punishing China. And then David Pakman just completely flips his misunderstanding. The reality is American businesses pay the tariffs, not China. The extra cost gets passed to consumers, which is why Trump's tariffs actually fuel inflation. And Sean is just completely stunned. He keeps repeating that he thought China was paying, proving just how effective Trump's misinformation is. David Pakman just lays it out perfectly. Trump says something that sounds good, people believe it, and no one bothers to fact check it. And then Pakman moves to Trump's tax plan, exposing how he deliberately hurt blue states by capping salt deductions. While handling huge tax cuts to the rich. And now Trump is just pretending he'll fix it, when he's the one who broke it. And J.D. Vance doesn't even know if they'll actually fix it. David Pakman just exposes the incompetence going on, and Sean has just no defense.
His healthcare framework, when he was candidate Trump in 2015, 2016, he said he'd replace Obamacare with something big and beautiful that would get everybody coverage.
I remember that.
In 2017, they finally put together a proposal. Nonpartisan evaluations found that around 30 million people would lose health care if that proposal had gone through, so he abandoned it. August of 2020, he famously said on Fox News, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have my new health insurance plan. We still don't have it. Kamala Harris asked him during the debate, or was it Kamala Harris, or I don't, maybe it was the moderator, or it was a question, or maybe it was a town hall. He was recently asked, do you have that plan now? And he said, I have concepts of a plan. Not good. Does not inspire confidence to me.
Right.
Not something I would want to take a chance on.
Well, it seems like this election, at least he's saying that he wants to go up against Big Pharma, him and RFK. Do you believe any of that?
You know, I don't know what I believe about that. I believe the most likely. See, here's the thing about Trump. The prism through which he sees everything is, what can I say or do that's good for me? Period. No matter who else it's good for. And so I think that Trump talking about making RFK some kind of health advisor, which, by the way, I don't believe he will do. I think he's actually going to realize RFK is toxic to his brand and it's not useful, but he's saying that he would. Okay, we can talk about that later. I think he's saying it because he's trying to find a way to get whatever RFK's support might be to support him. So I think that's why he's saying it right now. Privately, I don't think Trump agrees with almost anything that RFK is saying on vaccines. Or Trump would love to be bragging about the vaccines. He admitted in a recent Fox interview, I can't do it because my voters essentially hate it. Those are my words. He didn't say that, but he said people don't want to hear about it and they're angry or this or that. Trump would love to be bragging about how quickly he helped get the vaccines developed. He can't do it. And it's not about his deeply held belief about vaccines. It's just, what can I say to get more voters? That's all he really cares about.
Well, I would argue that's most politicians, though.
It's most politicians, but there's a degree to which Trump is willing to completely sacrifice what he genuinely believes. I'll give you another example. Trump's been pro-choice his entire life on the issue of abortion. Melania Trump recently in an interview said, I'm pro-choice. Trump contrived and fabricated this anti-abortion view because he said to himself correctly, I'm going to run as a Republican. One of the big fundraising issues for Republicans is that you've got to be against abortion. He started speaking at the Right to Life March or the March for Life or whatever it's called. Nobody who's around Trump believes for a second that he genuinely changed his view on abortion at age 68. And when you ask him why he changed his view, the story is, well, I was pro-choice my whole life. His wife's pro-choice, his family's pro-choice. But then I met a kid who I liked, and the kid's mom said, I thought about getting an abortion, but I didn't. And Trump wants us to believe that that made him completely against abortion.
And now David Pakman just lays out yet another example of Trump's empty promises. Back in 2015, Trump swore he'd replace Obamacare with something big and beautiful. But by 2017, the Republican plan would just have stripped millions of healthcare. And when it failed, Trump just kept pretending a new plan was coming. In 2020, he claimed it was 2 weeks away. We're still waiting. David Pakman just breaks down the pattern. Trump doesn't care about policy, just what sounds good. Now he's throwing RFK's name around, pretending he'll take on Big Pharma, but it's just more pandering. And then there's abortion. Trump was pro-choice his whole life, but flipped the second he needed evangelical support. His excuse was when he met a kid whose mom considered abortion. Pakman just calls it out for what it is, a fake stance. This is Trump's game. Healthcare, vaccines, abortion. It's all about what benefits him politically. And Sean Kelly's just got nothing to push back with.
All of this stuff is far more nakedly political, whereas let's look at some of the areas where Kamala Harris has changed her mind. Legalization of cannabis. She used to be against it. She now came out with the most left-leaning position any major party candidate has taken, which is she wants it legalized. Oh, but she flip-flopped. She changed her mind. Well, she came around to the right view as public opinion and research on cannabis evolved.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's no conflict. With Trump, a lot of this stuff feels nakedly and brazenly opportunistic.
Makes sense to me. Now, this is the big one. I'd love to hear your opinion on this one, the border policy.
Okay.
Who do you think's got the better border policy between those two?
Well, the important thing to understand is that Trump's border policy isn't completely clear. I mean, I'll tell you the parts that are clear. He wants to build a wall across the entire U.S.-Mexico border, which you can't actually do. You can only do it in certain parts because there's other types of barriers, including water and different things. I don't think Trump knows. I don't think Trump cares, but he says we're going to build a wall across the entire thing. And maybe Mexico will pay for it. That was part of it in 2016. He failed to do it. You can't do it in a presidential term. You're not going to get Mexico to pay for it. And it's not really going to deal with the broader issue, which is people that are flying in and overstaying visas, people being smuggled in or coming in legally and staying through legal ports of entry, et cetera. So
Right.
he wants to build this wall. He's not going to build the wall, and it wouldn't actually solve the problem. Trump wants to do militarized mass deportations. When he's asked who would be included in that, sometimes he'll say, well, the criminal illegal aliens who have committed violent crimes. Okay, we already do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have to serve time here first, then they get deported. We already have that in place.
And wrapping this up, David Pakman just educated John Kelly completely over Trump's nonsense. Whether it's healthcare, big pharma, abortion, or the border policy, Trump just throws out big promises with no real plan. He sells a fantasy, whether it's Mexico paying for the wall or a healthcare plan that never existed, and people buy into it. Pakman just lays it all out. Trump's policies aren't about solutions. They're about whatever benefits him politically. And when you actually break them down, they just fall apart. Anyways, if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below.